Class, this is our first lecture on color and light. This is a shorter lecture in a much longer PowerPoint that I have on color. Let's see, here we go. Color theory. Every decision from clothes that we select in the morning, stuff we buy for the home, work environment involves color choice. I don't know if you're responsible for buying appliances in your house. I am, because it's my house, and if I don't buy it, it doesn't get there. Everything in my kitchen is black or chrome right now, and I like that. I don't like a lot of multicolor stuff. I like stuff that kind of goes together. That's a decision, that's a choice I make. So even if you choose black or white or gray, that's a choice, all right? And the study of color is complex. Color and typography are two areas that most designers, no matter what field you're in, don't know very well. And it's worthwhile to start learning. I was terrible in both. In fact, when I first started college, one of my instructors asked me if I was colorblind. I mean, I felt so insulted, but he just thought the color I picked was so wacky and so vibrant and bright. I still like vibrant and bright colors, but I know the difference now, and sometimes they're not appropriate. The last point is knowing some basic color theory makes you a stronger designer. Okay? Now this is where most people start, color wheel. I have another way of looking at color, but you've obviously seen this before. The primary colors are in the middle. They're this triangle: yellow, blue, and red. Okay? This is primary color. This is real light. This is sunlight colors. This is not CMYK. This is not RGB. This is the world we live in. Okay, this is how it's been broken down with a prism, a class prism. This goes back to, I think if it's Galileo, or does anybody know who really first, I forget, anybody? Is it Galileo or Newton? I think it was Newton, okay? Now the secondary colors are just blends of these. So from yellow and red, you get orange. From yellow and blue, you get green. From blue and red, you get purple. There's actually two types of purple. There's one that's more of a blue purple and one that's more of a red purple. And they actually have different colors. And you see that down here. Okay, so around here are further mixes, and you could, of course, take some of these and mix them further. But just knowing this 12-step color wheel by Johannes Itten, this is enough. Johannes Itten, when I was in college, before computers, we had to do his color studies with like watercolor or gouache, which is a opaque watercolor. And we used to have to do all these little boxes, paint all these little boxes. The problem is I never learned anything from it. So it's like I've always wondered what that was about. So that's one thing you won't be doing in this class. 4 properties of color. Hue, which is actually another word for color. We don't use that word very often, but you will see it written more often than anything. It basically means color. It's the color spectrum. When you talk about color, you talk about, with your friends, you talk about color. You don't go, oh, what part of the color spectrum do you think this is? No, it's color. Saturation is the degree of spectrum purity. That means how saturated it is. How intense is that red or that yellow? You know, is it blowing your eyeballs away or is it saturated down? Temperature, warm or cool. This is really a big way that I will teach color, by temperature. I'm the only person that I know, instructor, that teaches this way. Most people are more of the color wheel. I like temperature. Value, light to dark. Okay, so yellow is a hue. The hue of lemons may lean a bit towards yellow or towards green. This depends on whether the light source is cool or warm. No matter which, it is still in the yellow family. What kind of overhead lighting do you have? Are you outside? Okay. And I'm not talking about a lemon that's not ripe. Obviously, that's going to be green. I'm talking about the existing lighting. When you are trying to pick a color, make sure you have good light. Okay. Saturation. Saturation defines a range from pure color, which would be 100%, to gray, which is 0%. At a constant lightness level. A pure color is fully saturated. From a perceptual point of view, saturation influences also the vividness of a color. Okay? And a desaturated image tends to look dull or washed out or even dirty. If anybody out there is a painter, and you say you want to make a darker yellow, if you add black to it, you may just end up with a dirty looking yellow. When you use oil paints or other types of medium, uh, there are different ways of getting a darker color. Generally speaking, you don't add black because it kills the color. It will make it look dull. Okay? The hues are yellow in both of these roses that you see. The one on the right is less saturated. It looks like there's something wrong. So, properties of color temperature. This is really important, guys. Please notice this. Color as a physical sensation. We feel color. We emotionally and physically will feel color. Okay? If you go to a hospital, hopefully you don't have to in the near future, or you haven't in the past, but if you do go to visit somebody or have to go for whatever reason, you will notice the walls in a hospital are painted very light, cool colors, because cool colors tend to make you more relaxed. Rarely will you walk into a hospital or someplace else that tends to be a little bit tense in terms of what's going on there, the seriousness of what's going on. It won't be bright orange. It won't be a bright yellow. Those colors tend to agitate. So here we go. Here's our color wheel: warm colors and cool colors. Notice that's the British spelling. That's not the American. So British English puts a U in it. We don't. Anyway, notice that the purple on the bottom is split. There is a warm purple and a cool purple. It literally is splitting hairs, but it is true. One tends to be more blue, one tends to be more red. Okay? Warm colors also visually come forward at you. They actually advance toward you. They represent in symbology fire, sun, and heat. If you said that the thermometer is very hot today and you did a little logo of a thermometer, you would probably make the inside red. If you said the temperature is very cool out, you would have it going all the way down and maybe make the bottom blue. It's not actually red. Well, it actually is red, but it's a very dark red. It's certainly not blue, but that's symbolizing, using color to symbolize. And that's one of the tricks we have in our box of stuff we do to try to communicate and to imitate something. Cool colors: blue, green, violet. Cool colors go back in space. You look at mountains in the distance, they're a bluish color. If you actually went there in a split second, say it was like some sort of Star Wars thing, where you, Star Wars what am I trying to think of? Like you were projected there in like a second. If you projected there that fast, it wouldn't be purple. It wouldn't be blue. No matter how fast you would get there, it would still be normal rocks, normal plants. It's just in our atmosphere on this planet, atmosphere will make it look like it's blue in the distance. Also, this is off color a little bit. Something else happens. It goes out of focus. All right. Symbolically, it represents sky, water, grass, plants. Okay. So, psychological effect. Warm colors will suggest a feeling of heat or warmth. Cool colors make us think chilly or calm. Okay? You want to make somebody look upset? Visually, you can make them crying. It looks like her mascara is running here. But also, the artist is putting in color. Color is bumping up. Her face is not yellow and orange, but it's being put in to intensify the emotion, right? You wouldn't put in blue. Blue's going to calm it down. Orange and red will make it more agitated. Here we go. Some flowers. Green, very pretty, very relaxing. That might be a picture you see in the wall of your dentist's office, where you're kind of agitated, thinking about that root canal you're going to get. Here's another one right here, very somber looking. I have this, and I quite frankly don't know what this is, so I'm going to copy and paste it if you just allow me to do that. And if it's nothing really good, we won't watch it.
When working with color, there are different ways of grouping various colors. In this video, I'll be discussing the two basic color groups.
Okay, he's talking about warm and cool colors. I haven't seen this for a long time, but we don't. If you want to get his perspective on that, please do. Go to that. All right. So here we go, light and shadow. We talked about warm colors advancing and cool colors receding. Here's an example. An artist uses progressively cooler blues to show the receding landscape. It's a little hard to see, but if you would do that in the background, the bluer shades down here, back here, that's what the effect is trying to be. Okay. We want to talk now about value. Value is lightness and darkness. When you add white to a pure color, that's a tint. When you add black or some other colors that will make it darker, that's called a shade. Okay? So colors emphasis. Here we have Godzilla and King Kong on a date. And look where they put the circle, right there where they're holding hands. Now, isn't that sweet? Okay. Here we have color as attention grabber. There's nothing more attention grabbing than red and black. You can't get much more than that. Maybe yellow and black, but red and black is pretty darn red. I'm pretty darn red. Red is pretty darn attention grabbing. Okay, color schemes. Monochromatic, analogous, and complementary. Think of this when you're doing your car and your trailer. This is what I spoke of in terms of hues that are together on that color wheel. That would be like this lion. You got yellow orange, light orange, orange. You got a red orange. All together, these are analogous. They all go together. And this is kind of a nice way of doing something which kind of is okay, and everything kind of goes together. There's nobody throwing a monkey wrench into the works. It just goes around smoothly. Monochromatic is here. It's where you're only using one color and you put in shades and tints. So the color here looks like a dark brown, and you got this all, it's a very brown looking, but it's got this kind of old-timey look to it. So if that's what you want, that's what you get with monochromatic. Complementary. Complementary is the opposite of what it sounds. Complementary sounds like complement, goes together. It's just the opposite. Complementary are your neighbors who have the dog that's always barking. Okay? Complementary is two colors that are opposite each other on the color wheel. What we have here is a golden, very light orange with orange against a background of violet and purple. These are complementary colors. And look at how different they are opposed to analogous. Analogous colors get along. These colors do not get along. I don't know if these are leaves. They look like leaves. Notice those yellow-orange leaves, how they pop out and float over the surface of everything. Okay? This is really important, this part of this lecture. Okay, we have a few more slides here. Colors in conflict. Certain color pairings are almost difficult to look at. Also remember this for the background if you want to put it in back of your trailer and car. Our eyes experience conflict trying to look at them. They look as though they are vibrating. Okay? These colors definitely vibrate. This blue against this red vibrate. This not so much. I don't really think this is, and I got this off the internet. These do vibrate. Colors that are especially true would be this complementary colors. So you put an orange and a blue together, and if you do the right value, they're going to vibrate. Generally speaking, this is not something you want to do unless you want to do something kind of pop-arty, kind of a thing you want to do. Generally, you don't want to do something. Okay? Emotional color. Okay, right here we have blue and green colors. Cool. It's also used here to be melancholy and somewhat depressing. This is Pablo Picasso during his blue period, which lasted a few years. He was not doing well according to his historic references that I've read about this. Now, I'm still not sure if this is true. Always check your sources, because sometimes stuff just gets repeated in art books. For as talented as Picasso was, I can't not believe that he just didn't want to choose these colors, and that he just was in a funk for 2 or 3 years. That's a long time to be in a funk, okay? Now over here, look at this. We get this sunflower here. Does anybody, in terms of, let's look at this, monochromatic, analogous, and complementary, what would you say is going here? Anybody? This sunflower on this blue background. What kind of color relationship is that?
Primary?
Complementary.
Primary is correct. That's each color, but yeah, it is complementary. They are opposite colors. Notice how that sunflower pops out. Notice that. Remember this. This is a really good trick to use. If you want something to pop out, use complementary colors. If you want it to settle back and look all similar, then use analogous. These are odd names. I wish they didn't have these. Analogous to me, I would have called this just similar, and complementary opposite colors. But for whatever reason, they don't call it. I find complementary confusing. Okay, just remember complementary is opposite. Okay, one more slide here on emotional color. Here is the artist uses color to add emotional impact. Okay, visually what's going on here? Let me make this a little bit larger for you. Can I make this larger? Oh, here we are. Get it in here so that it gets filmed, videoed. Okay, can you tell me what's going on here? No right or wrong.
Tense situation.
What are these characters doing? Is this something you'd put in your living room? If a friend of yours got you a birthday present and you unwrapped it, and they said, "Heather, this is gonna fit in your living room."
Or maybe the bathroom.
Okay. Anybody else? What's going on here?
It's like showing some part of war, like two opposite teams arguing.
Yes. This is a painting which evokes and wants you to create a narrative. Do you know what's a narrative? Anybody?
Narrative is like showing a story from like a single image or a set of images.
Very good. Story. Today, storytelling is bigger than ever. Storytelling is everywhere, and we do it in graphics too. You do it in photography, obviously, artwork, but maybe artwork that's abstract, totally abstract, would be not storytelling. It's more of a visual experience. But in our graphics that you're going to be doing, you're going to be storytelling. It's going to be very hard for you not to tell a story. Even with the the car and the trailer and say a donut, a cup of coffee, a gigantic dog in it, you're going to be, that's a story. What's going on? The viewer says what's going on. When I look at this, I get that idea. First of all, I think it's racial, but then I see there are two guys here and then two guys here and this guy, and they look different complexions. So I'm thinking, no, I'm going to go. Who said it's like two different sides? Who said that? Was that Dylan?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking you're right with that. Okay? So it's just two separate. Maybe let's put it in contemporary terms. Maybe it's like say the attack on the Capitol. Maybe these are two political groups that disagree with each other. Okay, now look, and they have very scary semi-automatic weapons too, which doesn't help. Look at the background. Why did they choose this? This is almost overwhelming. Red, didn't they read about the theory of color that red advances toward you? I want these figures to advance. The figures tell the story. What is this red about? Anybody?
I want the feeling.
Yeah. And what's it saying, Heather?
Anger.
Anger.
Red.
Yeah.
Red means stop. Red means anger.
It means hate. It means emotion. This painting is ready to, let me make it smaller. This painting is ready to explode.
It also means strong.
It can, and again, in different instances, you're absolutely right. In different instances, it's different, means different things. So that's why color, like typography, is complicated, because there's all these nuances. What's a nuance? Subtlety. There's all these subtleties. Are these subtleties important? They sure are. Because if you don't get the subtleties, you're not good at typography or color.